Hello, my name is Mandolin Royal, and I know I've been absent from YouTube for like 7 months or something crazy like that because, you know, life. And on this balmy 34-degree day, feels like 25, I'm sitting out in my barn watching birds. I am contemplating my pen arrangements. I'm contemplating my spring plan for the next breeding season that's about to be upon us. Because when you're breeding, it's about concentrating the traits you want and eliminating the traits that you don't want, and chasing improvements on down through the generations of the genetic pool you're playing in. And my genetic pool focuses on American Bresse first, which are these white birds with the single combs. And then I have a little side project, which is that boy right there. He's a hybrid of American Bresse and Chanticleer, because a winter hardy bird would be pretty cool. He's having no troubles in this cold at all. And the American Bresse aren't really having any trouble either. But I've had requests for really winter hardy birds to go to the likes of Maine, Minnesota, Alaska. And our summers are hot enough to where our comb size tends to get a little big. So I was thinking maybe I could fix that. Guys, cut it out. You're already neighbors. You already know each other. And you're younger than him. Step off. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Now the temperament is amazing. I could just walk him off. No big deal. And that winter-proof head. There is nothing on him to get frostbite. And he's pretty happy about that. I just weighed him when I got him out. 9 pounds, 5 ounces. He's coming up on 9 months old. So that's already too big. So I have 3 hens for him that are on the smaller side of the American Bresse spectrum, because I know if I put them with the other hybrid girls, I'm going to get so many wild results. And right now I need to focus those genetics into the American Bresse table traits, because they're really delicious. The rate of lay for the egg laying portion of dual purpose, it's really good. So the only thing I really want from him is that comb and that winter-proof thing. And all of the future offspring I will be guiding towards what the American Bresse are, because I love these birds. This pen here in front, these are all young birds. Here soon I've got to go through all those girls. Pretty sure I like the gumption on the male. There's a lot to pay attention to when you're doing breeding selection. There's a lot of subjective decisions to make. There's a lot of nuance to who goes with who and what for and why and what kind of results you could hope to achieve. And I approach it kind of like an artist would. And I follow my gut. I do a lot of my breeding kind of by the seat of my pants. My brain wants to be experimental, but I know what I want. And while I spend all this time feeding them and caring for them, I'm always looking at them and looking at what each bird brings to the table, and why I may need that bird and why I won't need that bird. And the birds that I won't need, those are the ones we eat. We have a steady and ready supply of poultry in our freezer, and we've gotten pretty good at cooking it. Fried chicken, roast chicken, whole chicken, cutlets, and chicken nuggets and every which way you can eat a chicken, these birds will do that. Sustainably. Perpetually. With all these pens, I don't have to go out and buy any chicken, and I don't have to go buy any eggs. The trick to getting through egg shortages is to have a supply of hens laying and then stagger their ages so that you always have eggs year-round. So these young birds here, their egg sizes are not big enough to hatch, so those are the eggs we eat. Of course, with it being January, I already have my incubators plugged back in. So we can go ahead and get started on this next season. And I'm just observing today, making sure I like the birds that I've retained. Wondering if I have them penned with the right birds to see a better result this season, because the whole point of breeding is to also look for incremental improvements. Now, I can't tell you exactly how to do all that in one video. And while I've been absent from YouTube, I've been pondering what you actually do need to know and how to achieve a nice supply of your own chicken. Why do you want to mess with everybody? Come on. I've seen enough. Let me open your pen door. You can go back. He is so wide. Too big. £9, 5 ounces, not even a year old yet. And get back in there with your little bowling ball hands. Come on. Go on. You just wanted out to cause trouble. And you know better. You've known this guy for months. This guy here with all these young ladies, he's not going to keep all of them. Because when you start going bird by bird by bird, each and every single one of them is going to be slightly different than the next bird. And I heavily rely on compensation mating, where I digest all of those parts and pieces, and I follow with my flock goals. And then I dig into those birds and figure out who has the best chances of producing the next generation that fits my flock goals. The hardest part was the meat part, because if you're not selecting for the meat traits, they may not be there. And when you get a new batch of birds that are new to you from someone else or a hatchery, they might not be that meaty. And so for the past 8 years, I've been selecting for, is it meaty or not? Because if they're not meaty when you go through and you handle them, they're not going to produce a meaty result. So there's this whole filtering thing that you have to do. And if it's not meaty, I won't hatch from it. And I had to come to that conclusion after going through so many freezer birds just because they didn't have substance. If you look at this boy, he doesn't look like, you know, a giant monster. But he is compact, he is meaty, he grew really good. And I'm hopeful for what he's gonna breed forward this season. It's a lot to think about. And I've been a little chicken nerd for decades now. So a lot makes sense to me. But I have to figure out how to break it down and have it make sense to you. Especially if you're just starting out. It's a lot to take in. Because anybody can just put fertile eggs in an incubator and hatch out some chicks. That's the easy part. But what birds should go together and why? That's where it gets subjective, tricky, and it depends. So as I get back into the video making vibe, I'm going to try to break it all down and explain it much better. So, more on that later. Right now, my fingers are numb, I'm cold, and I'm going back inside. So more on this later.